Welcome to Boss Up Goddess. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I interview trailblazing women who share their wisdom to help you live bigger, better, and bolder. The woman you're about to meet does exactly that in a very unique way. Her name is Laurel O'Sullivan, and she is the woman's coach. And she has a unique way of guiding women toward their greatest, highest success. Welcome, Laurel.
Hi, thanks, Elizabeth.
You're welcome. So, you're doing a lot of really amazing things that are perfect for the start of the new year. Can you talk about your coaching business and the program, the movement that you're launching this year?
Sure, yeah. So I have a practice that integrates astrology and empowerment coaching. So I like to say it's the intersection of advocacy and astrology because my prior background was that I was a lawyer for 15 years. And I helped nonprofits find their voice. So now I
Mhm.
bring that empowerment perspective to helping women, typically women who are midlife transition, generally, maybe grappling with some kind of change in their career or relationship, or just kind of asking, what's my next chapter look like in life?
Yes, yes.
And that's where the astrology comes in because it literally shows us sort of I like to think of it as like your own personal operator's manual. So it kind of can show you,
Ooh,
yeah, give you insights.
wow. Okay, wait, when you say midlife, what do you mean? What is that age range?
I would say like 40 to 60, mid
Okay.
30s to 60.
Okay. And with my mission here on Boss Up Goddess, I think that age range is where women kind of wake up and they're like, no, I want something else, but how do I get it? So
Yeah.
you can serve as that guide and you use the science of astrology to see what's literally in the stars for someone's future, right?
Well, yes, although what I use astrology very intuitively. So astrology can be very technical, but rather than use it with my clients to say this is what's going to happen to you, I
Hmm.
use it to find the questions that they can ask themselves and arrive at the answers to, because we are really
Ooh.
the experts on our life.
Uh-huh.
And so I never like to say this is going to happen to you because life exists on several levels, right? The physical level,
Hmm.
but the way that I use astrology is around the purpose and the meaning
Hmm.
for why you're here. And we each
Mm.
have a unique purpose. And
Uh-huh.
that's my passion. That's what I'm passionate about, is helping women find and claim their unique purpose and their genius.
Ooh, wow. So, would an example of that be, for example, I'm Cancer with Virgo rising and Virgo moon? Would you look at my chart and say, oh, you probably have strengths in this area, and you probably might have weaknesses or disinterest in this area. So, let's look at this idea for you or this path. Is that how that would work?
Yeah. So you just hit the head on the nail. You obviously know something about astrology.
I love it.
So what I like to say is sort of the architecture, the skeleton of our who we are, who we came here to be, is the moon, the sun, and the rising sign. And
Hmm.
so yes, we would look at each of those, but most importantly, we would look at sort of the interplay of how those three relate to each other and sort of
Hmm.
what are the dominant energy patterns.
Hmm.
But yes, kind of what you were just saying, I also say to people who are familiar with like a SWOT analysis, for those
Oh,
who have
yeah.
more of a business background, like
Uh-huh.
what's your strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats, that kind of analogy works
Yeah.
as well, because we all have them and they're
Mhm.
all unique to us.
Uh-huh. Oh, I love that. So do you work one-on-one with women who hire you as a private coach?
Yeah, so I work in a variety of ways. I work one-on-one, and in 2021, as you sort of hinted at, I'm going to be launching the Second Chances movement. So I'm going to be creating actual community
Oh,
where women can come together, because I've been hearing that from my clients that they really want to connect with other women who are,
yes.
at this point in life.
Yes.
I'm a big believer in second chance. We never get one chance to do anything. I know you are too. Like
Yes, for
we're
sure.
always reinventing and rediscovering ourselves.
Yes,
And
yes.
so now in 2021, I'm going to be offering courses through this platform, but
Hmm.
also, yes, one-on-one coaching membership, monthly membership, so that you can
Hmm.
learn about yourself through astrology.
Hmm.
And then also I offer the one-on-one coaching as well.
Oh, I love it. So can you talk more about the second chance movement?
Yes. So I'll just share a little bit of background. I mentioned that I used to be a lawyer, and about 3.5 years ago, I literally pivoted my career from being a consultant in the nonprofit world, using my advocacy and lawyer background, to deciding that I wanted to be a full-time coach. And then what happened is, during the Great American Eclipse, I literally sort of stumbled onto a lecture on astrology. And I realized I had been asking myself all these very sort of soul-seeking questions about what's next for me. And I found out that my North Node, which is the point on your chart, it's a very spiritual point that kind of shows you your ultimate life direction, was basically saying to me, follow your bliss. You need to kind of let go of all of this trying hard, improving hard, and making life hard, and follow what gives you joy. And what I discovered was that helping women step into their power and using astrology was my joy. And so, but let me tell you that it's, as a recovering, I think all of us have that, sort of self-critic in our head, as a, sort of recovering from that, giving myself permission, which is actually the first step of the second chance. So there's 3 phases to it. Giving myself permission to open up to what was joyful in my life was, it's not always easy. As women, we're taught to care for others and to put others first.
Yeah.
Whether we're a mother, a worker, a spouse, or whatever, a caretaker. It's not always easy to do that.
Wow. And when does it start?
So I'm in the process of creating the community. So my goal is by probably by mid-February.
Okay.
That it will open up. But I'm going to be communicating, and there'll be opportunities to learn more about it in January. So folks can come to my website, or I'm sure you'll have contact information if they're interested. They can figure out how to get in touch with me.
Yes, I'll definitely put the contact information in the description box here so people can find you and sign up. And is there a sign up process or an application?
Yes, there'll be, sort of a landing page where people can enter their email address, and then
Oh, wow.
and I will reach out.
So you mentioned February, and I know that there is a Mercury retrograde coming up. Is that overhyped, Laurel? I mean, to launch something during Mercury retrograde when we're supposed to be looking back or reevaluating or revisiting, etc.
So that's a great question. Mercury retrograde will be over February 20th.
Oh, okay.
So good reminder, I will probably be working on it during those 3 weeks, because anytime Mercury is retrograde is an excellent time to revisit our communication. It doesn't mean that your communications are going to go wonky or your computer's going to break down. I mean, those things can happen. But more importantly, whenever we have Mercury retrograde, which we do 3 times a year, typically, it's an opportunity to reflect, to reevaluate, and to do something to improve our communications, actually.
Is it a good time to launch something new?
If you started it before Mercury retrograde, it's okay. But if you were somehow wanting to start and launch within that period, I would advise against that.
Oh, wow. Fascinating. Fascinating. Wow, Laurel, can you talk about how there's been so many astrological events of late that usher in this new energy for ascension and advancement and reinventing oneself and discovering one's highest purpose and power? What's going on?
Well, as I said, I don't think it's a coincidence that I used to be a lawyer and now I'm doing what I do, because this is a period of time we're living in, right? Where everybody is opening up to the possibilities for their lives, to the deeper meaning behind it. So yeah, so 2020 was a doozy, because basically in 2020, we had this big January 12th conjunction that everybody who knows anything about astrology, Saturn and Pluto coming together, that said, okay, you need to redefine your relationship to power. What is it? Go. And then, as we know, 2020 was just this, sort of just I don't want to say, the word, because there's a word coming to my mouth, but I'm not going to say it. It was just this roller coaster ride. But at the end of it, I think for all of us, so Capricorn was the dominant energy, and it had been for several years. And wherever Capricorn is in your chart, that's the area of life where you were being asked to kind of redefine your power. There was something there that was asked to be was asking you to reassess it.
Mm-hmm.
And now we just moved into officially on December 21st, we had what was called the Grand Conjunction. That was sort of actually the big event of the year,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a reset. It's kind of like, the whiteboards, like wiping the whiteboard clean,
Ooh.
which is really exciting because
Uh-huh.
we can say goodbye 2020 and all that heavy earth energy, which is
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn is an earth sign. And that had been the dominant energy for 200 years for the Industrial Revolution. And now we've entered the age of Aquarius. So
Yes.
it's lighter. It's about communication.
Yes.
It's about
Yes.
collaboration. And it
Mm-hmm.
is, as you said, sort of about ascending to the highest good, because
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius is a humanitarian sign. And so
Mm.
that's where we are in terms of the energy that's unfolding. And I can talk lots more, but I'll stop there and pause for now.
Well, Laurel, I feel it so powerfully, and I know so many people who feel different. And when I meditate, like today and yesterday especially, it's like there's wind. It's like this energy is like so fast. And so I urge everybody to meditate and get in touch with that energy because you can use it. It gives you ideas and guidance for whatever you're doing. And then couple that with your expertise of
Yeah.
the guidance on what, astrological charts say. That is just limitless possibility. It's awesome.
It really is. And what I like to remind people, I don't know if you have any skeptics listening, but even astrology is just the study of energy, and it's the study of our unique energy patterns. So exactly what you were just saying about meditation, like that's when we're trying to align our energy, right? Where we're trying to kind of get into that higher vibrational state. So when
Mhm.
we are looking at our birth chart, it's not nothing, like it's not telling you this is what's going to happen to you. It's
Mhm.
saying here is the pathway to your empowerment if
Mm.
you want to go deeper and learn more about it. And so, yes, again, Aquarius is about our inner rebel. So we're
Oh.
all being invited
Uh-huh.
to connect with who we came here to be, who we were created to be, and
Uh-huh.
to let go of who we were conditioned to be.
Ooh, what?
Yeah.
Who we came here to be versus letting go of what we were conditioned to be.
That is one of the dominant, that is Aquarius. And it's also Uranus, which rules Aquarius. And it's one of the big planetary energies this year as well.
Oh my gosh, Laurel, that is the exact mission of Boss Up Goddess and the book that I'm writing that inspired this show, because we are conditioned as women to be a certain way. And I know you're watching Bridgerton. And I did a show yesterday about Bridgerton and how women were so constricted in their conditioning about being chaste and becoming a wife. And that was that's what they aspired to become. So we still, as modern women, are still conditioned to certain behaviors and thoughts and what's proper and what's not. And when we bust out of that,
Mm.
life is grand.
That, that is what 2021 is about. So, right there, your book, I don't know when it's coming out, but
April.
it's a 2021 book. I mean, that is the theme of 2021 because you were already like tapped into that.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's beautiful.
Wow. Thank you, Laurel. I'm so excited that you are leading this movement to help women discover this. Or they're probably feeling it already, but don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Right?
And here's the thing, too. It's about, so we attract the energy into us that we give out, right? We attract into our life and experiences based on the energy that we're giving out. So, again, kind of going with this theme of energy, once you understand what the patterns are that you sort of came into this world with to
Mhm.
overcome, then you can start attracting different things into your life.
Oh,
And for most of us, by the time we get to midlife, we're like, I'm ready. And we've started
uh-huh.
doing that work. And all we need is sort of like a supportive community or others who are on the same pathway or
Mhm.
greater insights or encouragement. And that's really the second chance movement is about shifting our perspective
Mhm.
so that we understand there's a more easeful and joyful way to
Mhm.
claim our unique purpose and what we came here to do.
I love that. So the focus on women, what is it? Do men have these same issues, or why the focus? My audience is women as well, because I feel like we need the extra guidance because of that conditioning to break out of it, whereas men are free to be and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So, what about this? Focusing on women, why is that important?
Well, I would just say amen to what you said. I know you grew up with a sister who I know and adore. I grew up with three older brothers. So, very much sort of my story is I grew up in a household with a mother who really wanted a girl. So, I always say that I was her, like, I was the, and she want, she really wanted a girl. So there were like all these expectations, but I actually kind of came into this world a bit of a rebel. Like I'm an Aquarius moon and an Aries rising and a 4-planet Scorpio. So I'm intense. I can be direct and I have a bit of a rebellious streak in me. And that didn't always sit well in my family. And so
Oh,
I sort of learned how to go along and get along until I did it, until I said, I'm going to go to law school so that I can use my voice, channel this in an effective
wow.
way and no
Uh-huh.
longer worried about like whether I'm, going along to get along. So,
Wow.
so I am really passionate, and I've had many people say, do you work with men? And in fact, I have done readings for men.
Mhm.
So I have no problem with that. But when I got that message to follow my joy, it was absolutely about, as you said, giving women permission
Uh-huh.
to own their innate power because I understand what that's like.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that. I've noticed that in many different platforms and my circles of people that I'm involved with, a lot of women are coming together. And it seems like there's that old school competition or jealousy or sort of division between women has melted away to a great degree. And it's really beautiful because I think a lot of times women didn't want to come together because there was that comparison and competition. And it's really amazing to see this unity coming together in women's groups and communities. And that sounds like what you are birthing in terms of your movement.
Yes. Yeah, I would totally echo that. I think for so long for women, we are told, to go forward in life, we had to strive and prove and try hard and all those things. And so bringing sort of the feminine, masculine within us into balance, invariably we're like all over here trying to, keep up with the men or to do, sort of that masculine model. And what we've, been coming into, I would say over the last several decades is the
Mhm.
realization of, you know,
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
and so yes, so now there's a sort of course correction and community because that again is
Course.
the energy that we're in. It's about
Uh-huh.
collaboration.
I love it. You said course correction. Wow. So how do you apply some of these things to yourself, looking forward? Like you're an entrepreneur, you shifted major gears from law to what you're doing now. How do you apply all these planetary changes and the vision that you have to yourself?
Yeah, that's so I would say that's sort of what I've been doing for the last 2 to 5 years that's allowed me to make the shift. So the first
Uh-huh.
one, as I said, was sort of giving myself permission.
Mhm.
And then the second stage of second chances is shifting, which is
Mhm.
really about transforming your fears. And for anybody who knows anything about astrology, I have 4 planets in the eighth house, and the eighth house is all about fear. So I really believe that my, big part of my life mission was to come here to transform those fears about enoughness, fears about, finding balance and equality within our relationships. Lots of different ways of basically what I write a lot about is proving, always feeling like I needed to prove myself. And so
Mm.
it's been letting go of that. So that's the second stage when we can let go of our fears, let go of the past. Then we step into the final stage, which is claiming, which is where we
Mm.
expand, as you've been, describing your own personal journey.
Yeah.
Whereas women, we expand into who we came here to be. And that's where
Mhm.
we really work on cultivating the inner compassion and basically all the virtues that, we think about: compassion, courage, curiosity. Because when we can have curiosity about ourselves, we let go of the judgment and life is
Mhm.
just exciting.
Oh, it is. It's awesome. It's so liberating when you liberate your mind and then your life follows.
Yeah, so I will say that I've had a like a dear friend who was really instrumental in giving me permission to use astrology, because for the first year I was sort of, I discovered it and was a hobby, and I was using it with friends and family, and she was the one who's like, you need to start using this in your coaching practice. So, when we have support like that, that's really helpful, because then sometimes we need that to give ourselves that permission to open
Mm,
up to the possibilities for what could
mm.
be.
Oh,
And then it's just been a matter of sort of slowly, stepping more and more into, sort of the fullness of who I came here to be. And
oh, I love that. I love that. So when you work with women, you do their chart, right?
yeah, so the first step is always like what I say, kind of creating the blueprint. And so it
Ooh.
depends on, and usually what I like to do is have a few sessions and then sort of let things marinate a little bit. And then we can sort of chart out their path forward.
Oh,
And the part that we tend to look at the deepest is the shifting, is the looking at how do you transform your perspective or your fears, things that
uh-huh.
you thought. Fears are really just here to keep us safe. So once we
Oh.
understand that, because when you look at astrology, not only do you see your fear, but we can look at the context for how that fear arose and developed in your
Mm,
life. And obviously, usually it goes back to, our family and our upbringing, and then we recreate that pattern. So I look at, um, there's key planets that I look at, and we have conversations. And there, now that I'm going to be having this platform and these courses, it's going to be great because there's going to be opportunity for sort of journaling and reflection, and then coming together in groups to talk
uh-huh.
about it, as well as doing one-on-one. So I think it'll be a little more dynamic. And then
Mhm.
for people who want to work one-on-one, that's always an option too.
Oh, I love that. It's such a wonderful path of self-discovery, and here you're saying there's a blueprint for it. I love
And it's fun.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun, and it like light bulbs go off.
Uh-huh.
It really, and it's interesting because I got the word permission because I kept getting back reviews from clients who said, you gave me the permission to see my life in a different way.
Wow.
And I realized when I thought about it that that was the same journey I had been on for the
Uh,
last, as I was slowly pivoting away from the law
mhm,
into becoming a women's coach, that it was this process. And so I do think that's sort of one of the superpowers that I bring to it, is that
mhm.
I can see everybody's unique purpose, and I use astrology very intuitively. So I also want to emphasize that it is not, there's an intuitive process that I go through, that when I look at a chart and have a conversation with somebody, I can see into them. I can
Mhm,
see into a very deep level. So it goes
mhm,
beyond just sort of the paper. Because some astrologers don't work like that. They'll just look at your birth chart and send you a recorded reading. So
mhm,
there's just different ways that people work with it. So I just kind
mhm.
of want to make that clear.
That's fascinating, and how interesting and sad that we're seeking permission to do what our authentic self is calling for.
Yes. Although, at least we're doing it. We could be back in the days of Bridgerton, like, uh, yeah.
Yeah, 19th century Regency England, which was very restrictive for women and what was appropriate. And their highest aspiration, according to society, was to marry the right man who would provide for them.
Right.
Oh my gosh, we have come so far,
Right.
thankfully.
Well, and I think it's interesting too because I think for so long feminism has been really focused on the structures in society that are holding women back, and that, absolutely that work needs to be done. But I really think the work that we're all still very invested in, and that there's more to be done, is this process of giving us permission to say the enemy is not outside there.
Right.
Often, what's holding us, we are the ones holding ourselves back.
Yes, that
So,
is so
and
true.
that's the only thing we can ultimately control. And that perspective comes from years of being an advocate. I was an environmental lawyer. And so, like, fighting against, fighting against, fighting against. And, in my own life, what I realized is the only thing we can ultimately ever control is ourselves. And that's where
Wow.
our true source of power comes from. So,
Wow.
I mean, I'm just super excited about, the next 200 years, not that I will get
Ah,
there that
I,
part.
I
Women are,
love it.
we're taking our place finally.
Uh-huh. I love that. That's so powerful. So, Laurel, can you talk about when in your movement, is the format going to be virtual for now, and then will it expand into in-person retreats or classes?
That's so exciting to think about. I'm so glad you asked that question. Yes, it's virtual for now because I work with people across the world. I have clients in Europe and across the US. But one of the things I most love doing and that I did in my previous role was a lot of training and bringing people together. In my previous work, my other business was called the Advocacy Collaborative, and that's where I empowered nonprofit leaders to how to
Mhm.
use their voice. And so that I spent the better part of 5 years traveling and doing in-person gatherings. So I would very
Oh,
much love to do that. And in fact, I don't think there are any coincidences. I just learned about a really cool gathering space in the Midwest. So we'll see what 2020 will
oh,
be.
I want to come.
Because we all need community right now.
Mhm.
And, when we can magnify the power of
Mhm.
the individual.
Yes, absolutely. So, Laurel, I will put it in the description box, but can you tell us where people can find you right now?
Yes, absolutely. So I also have a channel on YouTube,
Uh-huh.
Laurel O'Sullivan. You can just Google that.
Okay.
Your Astro Advocate. So I talk about, again, the intersection of astrology and advocacy and how you can tap into whether it's the new moon, the full moon, whatever the current astrology is to empower yourself. Uh,
Okay.
LaurelO'Sullivan.com is my website.
Okay.
So folks can go there. And then if
Mhm.
you want to email me, if you're interested in learning more about the second chance movement, it's Laurel O'Sullivan, or Laurel at LaurelO'SullivanCoaching.com. It's a
Okay.
mouthful.
Okay. Okay. I'll put all that down here.
Yeah.
Wow, that is phenomenal. So, what other guidance can you offer to women who are watching right now about it's a new year, they want a new start? What should they do?
How much time do we have? Yes, I can. I will share one more thing where people can find me. I do have a free Facebook group, Unleash Your
Okay.
Power, Navigating Midlife.
Oh,
So, and we talk about astrology in there. And I do Facebook lives and, interact with folks. So,
can
um,
you say that again, please? And is your if they just go on Facebook and search your name, will they find it?
if they go to the Woman's Coach, they'll
Okay, the
find
woman's
my
coach
community.
on
Or,
Facebook. Okay, the woman's coach on Facebook. Okay, excellent. Great, great, great. Okay.
Um, so, one of the things I would say to folks who are listening to this, that 2021 is about, and I always have to look at this. I wrote it down because it's a play on sort of the Serenity Prayer. It's about
Oh,
no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. Isn't that
wow.
good?
Can you say it again, please?
I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change.
Mhm.
I'm changing the things I cannot accept.
Wow. Ooh, I have chills.
Yeah. Isn't that good?
That's powerful. Oh my
Yes.
god. You'd think the temperature went down in here. I'm shivering from that. Wow, Laurel. That's
So, I mean, we're breaking free. We're breaking out of old conditionings and patterns from the past and giving ourselves permission.
uh-huh.
Permission. There's that word again. To be who we authentically came here to be.
Mhm.
And that does, So the primary energy pattern of the year is Saturn. So Saturn is our authority. Saturn is the taskmaster, the timekeeper, the one who wants us to grow up and mature. So we have Saturn making a square, which is a 90-degree angle. And we experience a square as inner tension within ourselves to Uranus. And Uranus, as I said earlier, is our inner rebel. It wants to break us free of anything that's been holding us back. So we have this tug of war between the past, which is Saturn, and the future, which is Uranus. So this comes back to your point about meditating. The guidance I will give to people is the place in between the past and the present, or the past and the future, is now. So we need to be present in our lives to what's going on and to be mindful not to project into the future, which is really easy to do.
project the past stuff,
Yeah,
you mean?
into the future.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that energy pattern, we can project our past fears, disappointments, things that didn't work out into the future. And that's not a
Mm.
recipe for allowing us to move forward. So it's about being mindful,
Mm.
as we navigate this energy. And every single person, no matter what their sign is going to have that. That's the energy pattern of the year.
Oh my gosh. When I hear the word Saturn, I want to freaking run into the closet.
Saturn
Saturn.
is here to do us good, though, ultimately. It really does. It wants us to own our power and our authority
Oh, thank you for rephrasing that because I feel like Saturn kicks your ass.
in the best possible way, like a kind and loving coach. And I have a really intense Saturn, let me tell you. So I bet we could go toe to toe.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to grab a hold of Uranus over here, you know?
Ask for it. Yeah.
Like Wonder Woman's lasso.
Yeah.
Hello. Wow. I'm so happy you just opened my mind so well in a whole nother way. Thank you.
Oh, good. Good, good, good. That's what I love to do is reframe things. Yeah.
Totally reframing. I love it. Wow. Can someone come to you just to do their chart?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I do that. Yes.
Wow. And do you do like a reading to like decipher it all for them?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
absolutely. So
That's
it's,
what your intuitive aspect is all about, right?
yep, that's a 50-minute session. So it's, and, in the best possible way, it's a conversation. It's not me telling you,
Uh-huh.
it's me sharing information, and we go deeper into understanding
Uh-huh.
you.
Is it 15 or 50, you said?
50 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Just 50. Yeah. Excellent. I love that. Laurel, is there anything else you'd like to share?
I think we covered a lot of ground. No, just
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm already feeling the energy, and it's the first, January. So we have Mars moving into Taurus next week. It's been in Aries for 6 months, which is a little intense, and it wants to get stuff done in Taurus. So what I will say to everybody is get going, because the first 3 months of this year are going to be busy.
And then isn't there something big happening for the next quarter?
Well, so that Saturn Uranus energy that I talked about is going to have 3 points of intensity throughout the year. So one of those will be in February, and then we get a break, and then one happens in June and December. So that is going to be the predominant energy. Last year we had 3 different patterns going on, which was a lot to keep track of. This year's a little simpler.
Do we have a bunch of eclipses again this year?
Always have eclipses, yes, but again, not as many, but Gemini and Sagittarius, and those are May, June, November, and December.
Uh-huh.
So we typically have eclipse season in the springtime and then fall, winter. Sometimes
Oh,
in January we have one, but we don't have one in January this year.
oh, okay. Oh, it's fascinating. Oh my goodness, Laurel, you are just a powerhouse of information. I love it. Thank you so much. So when you launch your movement, I want you to come back on or when you're about to, so people
Yeah,
can learn how to sign up and participate.
I would love to do that.
Okay. Thank you, Laurel O'Sullivan, the women's coach, the Second Chance Movement founder, creator, and leader. You are amazing. Thank you for opening our minds tonight.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
Wonderful. And thank you, all of you, for joining me and Laurel O'Sullivan here on Boss Up Goddess, where you got to learn all this fascinating information about how astrology can provide a blueprint for your best life and so much more information. If you're getting value out of this program, please do like, share, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you thought about the program and if you have any questions. And click the notification bell so you'll know every time I go live or post a new video. Meanwhile, remember, boss up, goddess, you have the power. I'll see you next time.